Do you know what?
Go on.
Loads of people getting triggered when we put out that video of when I said about there's certain racist double standards in the country.
Yeah.
So it was like a 1 minute clip where I've said, if you're a person of colour, every time, if you want to criticise this country, and we're talking about England, you're not even considered British enough to have the right to criticise it. Do you know what I mean? That's the point I was making.
You say one thing and then like, well, go back to your country then.
Yeah. And that's the point I was making. The point I was making is not that I hate this country. The point I was making was I love this country, but I'm not allowed to say it's my country. And it's almost like for me to be here, I have to be like, I have to love everything. Single thing about it, and I'm not allowed to criticise it.
Or you gotta go.
And the comments proved it, because the comments that I was getting,
it's like, go back home then.
Mate, go back home, go back to the desert. Do you know what I mean? Like, go back to the desert. This will never be your country, Abdul. I didn't realise my name was Abdul. Like, go back to your country. Like, if you don't like it, you know what to do. Off you pop then. And it was like, but it was like, and they were the sort of, not jokey comments, but stupid comments. But there was people saying the entitlement that you must have to criticise a country that gave you shelter and gave you opportunities. I'm like, hold on. First of all, didn't no one give you no fucking shelter? Do you know what I mean?
You come as some asylum seeker or something.
And I weren't invited. I was born here, innit? Like, first of all. But like, and no one jokes, came, and man. No one, and there was, you know, I saw this, there was this clip of this young guy talking on social media, and he was talking about, you know, my grandfather's built this, young white guy, my grandfather's built this country and invited people from other countries in who came in and worked hard. But surely my grandfather should get credit for it, yeah? And it's all a load of, you know, all the people like Too Right Well Said. And I will say this to that speech. It's a beautiful and impassioned monologue that he gave that will make a lot of people very proud of being British and being English, and that they helped immigrants and helped people come into this country, right? We're talking about our granddads. Do you know what I mean? Like the Windrush generation and all that. But unfortunately, it's factually incorrect, because that's not what happened. Do you know what I mean? The fact is, your grandfathers would be speaking German if it wasn't for people of India and the Caribbean fighting in the wars. That's the first thing. Second of all, we didn't get given civilization, and we should be thankful for it. No one asked for it. Yeah. India, Africa, all these places have beautiful resources. They had all the resources and riches and golds and diamonds. They had that. Do you know what I mean? You didn't come over and help it that you need thanks for it. I've heard like people, you know, on these debates and stuff, like well-to-do people. I'm not talking about just like people like us who are just on here doing fucking podcasts, but like major media going, you know, people should be thanking us from these countries that we gave them civilization and we gave them whatever, and you know, we gave. No one asked you for anything. That's like us saying we went and gave Afghanistan democracy. No one asked us. We've got this thing thinking that we're the, you know, that England, America is like somehow the world's moral police. Do you know what I mean? That we have the right way of living and we're giving civilization to people, and we gave them buildings and hospitals and whatever. These people didn't need it. No one asked you for it. And when they're saying people were invited over, I know there's a lot of stuff with regards to Windrush, whether it was actually invited or not, people weren't told about it. But people didn't invite immigrants over out of love and the kindness of their heart. Please come, we'll help you.
They needed help.
They needed help. The Second World War had happened. The country was in fucking tatters. And also, people didn't want the jobs. And even now, people don't want the jobs. Do you know what I mean? And there are immigrants that come over that leech off this system. 100%. You've got to remember, you can't lump immigrants into one go. The immigrants that came over in 50, 60 years ago, that Windrush generation, they didn't have the opportunity to have, but there wasn't a social security system in place. You couldn't come in here and claim social security. There wasn't systems like that in place. You had to come over here to work. Yeah. You were here to work, and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
And apparently, I don't know if this is true, but I'm sure it was because I remember my grandparents talking about it a little bit, and other people's grandparents. They were promised a lot better jobs before they got here.
Of course you were.
And then when they got there, they got bottom of the barrel stuff.
Yeah, and everyone did.
And that's not what they expected initially, because they brought over a lot of people that were trained quite highly to certain levels. Yeah. Engineers, nurses.
All to be a bus conductor.
Yeah.
All to be a bus driver.
Yeah.
Or a nurse.
Yeah.
Or a carpenter on a site. But what I'm saying is, they weren't invited. Let's not stop talking like they weren't invited over. They were invited over out of the goodness of their hearts and given shelter. They didn't ask for you. They didn't ask to come here. They got told to come here. They got sent here. Do you know what I mean? My grandparents worked for the British. They went where the British sent them. They didn't ask the British, let us come and work for you. They got sent. So my grandparents went from India to Africa, from Africa to England, because that's where the British sent them. They worked for the British, and they were, in fact, they were owned by the British. Our grandfathers and our immigrants were slaves for the British. Even on their passports, it says subject to the British Empire. Subject is a posh word for slave. So let's stop talking like they needed shelter and they got given over. You know, they got given opportunities to come here and work. That's not why they were here. They got brought here to have the shit jobs. That's the first thing. And that's a different set of immigrants from before than they are now. I understand people come into this country to leech off it. I also believe people are from this country that leech off it as well. And it's not just there's more because there's a higher number. Do you know what I mean? People say, well, there's more people on the dole that are white, more people on Social Security that are white because there's more white people. But statistically as well, most people on, you know what I mean? I think it's about even proportionally. But there is a lot of immigrants that come here to leech off the system, and there is a lot of people in this country that are homegrown that leech off the system. And it's not because there's no jobs. Because let me give you an idea. If you can't find a job, go and join the army. They're hiring. Go and join the military. Go and fight for your country.
It's true. And even if
the army are hiring. The adverts on the TV, bro. Join the army.
You could do the reserves as well, which
go
is
and
like
join the
pretty
army.
much unlimited amount of days. You can do as many days as you want.
Army's
You'll
hiring.
get paid.
RAF is hiring. Air Force is hiring. Navy is hiring. Go. You get fit. You get 3 meals a day, and you go and do something for your country if you really love it so much. Do you know what I mean? I am not in favour of anybody in this country, whether they are from another country, whether they are born here, whether they're white, they're black, they're brown, they're Muslim, they're Christian, whatever. I am not in favour of anyone being in this country who does not contribute to it. Who does not contribute to it. And there's plenty of ways you can contribute. As long as you're able-bodied and able-minded, you can go in the military. You can do whatever. But they're not going to... The 30 or 40,000 people that are coming in asylum seekers, I worked out the numbers, right? People are saying they put a drain on the NHS, yeah? I think on the NHS site, there's 9,000 NHS facilities in this country. I think 1,500 hospitals and about 7,500 other care facilities, yeah? Say 900. And you work in hospitals. You know how many hospitals are around the country. And a lot of places around the country don't have immigrants. Most of this country is white. Let's not get this twisted. Most of England is white. There's a few spots where there are people of colour. But if there's like 9,000, say 9 to 10,000 NHS care facilities, and there's 40,000 illegal immigrants that have come over, right? Assuming every one of them takes advantage of the NHS and is on the NHS, that's 4 per facility. Do you really think 4 people per facility are causing delays to you getting your cataracts operation? When you think about the numbers, 4 people extra per hospital is causing you to have delays in your, you know what I mean, in your surgeries. They're not putting a strain on it. They had enough money from the NHS during COVID to give everyone a shot. They made hospitals. They set up porter cabins to give you vaccinations. Why? Because big important people were making money off that. They had enough money then. They got enough money to go to war. They got enough money to go and bomb a bunch of farmers, but they ain't got enough money to heal their sick and to give first aid and to give medication. That's not immigrants doing that. You think if all immigrants leave, then suddenly you're going to have the best healthcare in the world and you're going to be wiping your ass with £50 notes? Well, because there's going to be so much money around.
People
jobs.
are told that that's
such bullshit.
And they believe it, and that's the problem.
It's such bullshit. If
You've
your
got
life
to be
is
careful
shit,
what you believe, man.
if your life is shit because your life is shit. It's not because of immigrants. It's because you don't work and you're lazy. Do you know what I mean? Ain't no one not being a doctor because an immigrant took that job. There's plenty of jobs in this country. How are immigrants able to come here and do jobs? There's jobs you don't have to get stolen. Sign up to an Uber and go and drive it. Get a car. You're not competing. They're not stealing your job. The jobs are there. You don't want them. You don't want to do the shit jobs.
True.
When I own restaurants, all the drivers here are Romanian boys. Do you think they want to drive? Do you think that's their dream? You think their dream is to come and drop fucking pizzas off to people's houses? Of course it's not. But the people here don't want that job. Do you know what I mean? Having said that, and having said all this, I have to make it very clear, white people also suffer from double standards in this country.
What do you mean?
Like, a white person can't say they're uncomfortable with immigrants because they get labelled racist. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't say there's too many immigrants here now, we need to look after our own people. They get called a racist.
But there isn't too many immigrants though, that's why.
No, but even when they say we don't want these grooming gangs, they think it's anti-Islamic, and it's not necessarily. I'm not saying there's people
who thinks it's anti-Islamic.
No, when people say something about grooming gangs, people say, "Oh, you're just highlighting Islamic grooming gangs and not all the other grooming gangs." But that's all they're getting fed. And the thing is with people, and I don't mean to send any offence to you lot, but people are naturally stupid, innit? People need to be led and need to get told what to believe.
That's the problem, though.
And they will get led. The thing is with white people get, and white people in this country are absolutely right. If they say anything about any group that is not white English, they get called racist. Where you and I, being from ethnic minorities, know that ethnic minorities are far more racist than white people. Do you know what I mean? As an Indian man, let an Indian man's daughter bring home a black man. Ethnic minorities are racist to each other. It's not like some one big gang of ethnic minorities against white people. Like, everyone's racist. Do you know what I mean? Like, but white people get called racist very, very quickly. And I think you made a video about this with us a while ago when you were saying about black people. Sometimes then people aren't being racist. Sometimes you're just a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? But I get it. I get that white people have their own struggle. But the point I was trying to make was not that white people don't have struggles. The point I was making was, this is the struggle of a person of colour in this country. White people have their own struggle. Like, white people can't fly a flag in this country, which I think is absurd. The fact that a white English person can't fly a flag of England without being labelled a racist.
I wouldn't think they're racist if they do that though.
Because you and me have got a fucking brain, innit? But what I'm saying is, if you see a white... But to be honest, sometimes if I go past a pub and there's a big St George's flag all over the place, I do get a bit like, am I going to be welcome in here? That is the truth. And that's just... but that's my own thing. I might be perfectly welcome. But that's because there's a group of people that have used that flag
in a negative
way, and it's made certain people, it's given it the reputation.
I hear that. I don't feel a way about it. What I feel a way about is, what's that hillbilly flag?
The Confederacy.
Yeah, that one gives me.
But even that is that's
and I've seen that I saw that in Southend, and I was like, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, but I think that's more that they like that culture and the cowboy thing and whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, but to me,
it's what it represents.
I associate it with
I'm sure
racism.
We are the only country where white people, when they fly a flag, they get called a racist. There's no other country that I can think of. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of countries are black proud, very proud.
You go into Spain, they all had empires. Spain and Portugal and the Dutch, they committed atrocities in the Caribbean, in the Americas. They all had slaves, but when they do it, no one would have a go at a Dutch person for flying a Dutch flag, but people have a problem with an English person for flying it, and I think it's absurd. The only place I think it could be similar is maybe if there was a South African flag back in apartheid. Do you know what I mean? That could have, and they said that it was the rugby team, the Springboks. That kind of uniform represented apartheid, and that's why Nelson Mandela kept it, didn't he? He kept the uniform because he wanted to change the narrative on it.
Yeah.
But I get it. I don't have a problem with white English people flying their flag and at sports games and at England games and whatever. What I have a problem with is when England lose, you start calling the black players monkeys. That's what I have an issue with. Do you know what I mean? That is what I have an issue with. Do you know what I mean? Or when you're flying a flag outside trying to burn down a hotel, but you're flying your flag. Do you know what I mean? And you're flying the St. George's flag and you're wearing a Union Jack, but you're flying it while you're committing horrible acts towards other human beings. That's what I've got an issue with. Because then you're using your nationality and that's what you're portraying of it. But 100%, like,
you're also associating something that has nothing to do with it.
You're associating. You're building an association.
It's not. It's a little bit messed up, man.
Of course it is. People are using.
People have done it all the time, though. They do. They've done it with religion. They've done it with many things, but like I think naturally as humans, though, this is how we kind of filter what is safe, what isn't, who is trustworthy, who isn't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's a natural thing of us. Who's our tribe and who's not? Yeah. Who's a threat and who's not? Yeah. And I get it. But
survival is like an instinct almost.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But I 100%.
And that's why it's important that when you actually do associate things, symbols, flags, whatever, with your actions, that it's in a very kind of thoughtful way. You're doing it in a thoughtful way. Do you know what I mean? That's the word.
Mindful. You're mindful of how you're projecting yourself.
100%.
I have to be careful, and you have to be careful. Yeah. When I go somewhere, I understand the looks that I get.
Yes. This is interesting.
So my thing is to make people very, very comfortable.
You're right.
Because when I open my mouth, like, I understand what I look like. Yeah. Do you understand? I understand what I look like. But I also understand that when I open my mouth, people don't expect this voice to come out of this look. Yeah. Although, did we get that one person who commented and saying I've got a Muslim accent?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
But that was based on the fact that you're Asian and you have a beard.
Yeah.
What does a Muslim accent sound like?
Mine, apparently. He even said that.
He doubled down. All over the world.
He doubled down. He doubled down. When you said, what does a Muslim sound like? He went, you. Like, he proper doubled down. He didn't even go, yeah, all right, I was a bit of I didn't mean that bit. I meant the look. But, like, he was like, you. He doubled down on it, mate.
That's
like, I sound
crazy.
Like
that's crazy.
But this is what we said on when we went on Facts Only. I said, I had on
the scarf.
The scarf. The thingy scarf, the shimag, and it was like, if I had a ginger beard, I was white, and I had on that scarf, and I had this voice, I'd just be a hipster. Yeah, just be a white guy with a ginger beard who wears that Islamic scarf thing, and you know what I mean. I sound like this. I'm just from the East End, and I'm a hipster. But because the one thing that changes is the color of my skin. As soon as it becomes brown and not white, now why can't I be a hipster? Why can't I just be a hipster who likes to have a beard and wear that scarf and talk the way I do? But the fact that I'm brown immediately makes me an Islamist.
100%, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where people don't even know if I'm Muslim or not. They never asked. They just assume.
Assume, yeah.
And I understand what I look like.
More than once this happened.
But I understand what I look like. Yeah. I understand what I look like. I look like a stereotypical, what people think is a young Muslim guy from London. I get it. I've got bald and I've got beard.
But again, that's why for me, when I'm, meeting people, when speaking to people, I also understand what I'm representing.
Yes.
So how I come across is important because they also have expectations. Even 100%. What you wear, they have 100%. Expectations.
100%.
So, it's kind of sad because it almost feels like you've got to prove a point sometimes. But like, I'm not doing it to prove a point. What I like to do is I like to educate people.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And show them, I could look like this, but I could actually come across in a completely different way to what you expect. So don't always judge a book by its cover. Do you know what I mean?
And also, use that experience when someone says something to you.
Yeah.
Or when you hear other people talking. Because I've looked like this for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I always said, like, if I've ever, not that I'm a saint or anything, but if I've ever helped, like, there's a couple of ladies and their tyre's flat on the road, and I've stopped and I've helped them change a tyre. And like, do you want anything for it? Do you need anything? All I'll say to them is, like, my narrative with that is, if I was to help someone and they said to me, do you need anything? I'll say, no, I don't need anything. All I would like you to do is that next time people talk about men that look like me, just remember it was a man that looked like me that helped you in the middle of the night when your tyre was flat.
Do you know, it's funny?
Just keep that in mind.
Even me and my brother, when we was outside, there was some old man, ran that I did not expect him to. He asked if I could help him cross the road.
What, here?
Yeah. I was in shock. I was like, me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Like, no problem. But I did not expect him
People
to ask
will
me.
surprise you.
I did not expect him to ask me. I was with my brethren as well. You get me? It was
two
cold.
black guys in the north of England.
We had like big jackets on,
The
hoods
whole-
up.
yeah,
Like,
the
it's
whole
cold,
thing.
innit?
The whole thing.
I had a tracksuit on. I did not expect him to ask me to help him cross the road. The guy was holding my arm. He was holding my arm like this.
Yeah, that's
It's
lovely. But that's lovely.
And then these cars are passing, and they're seeing this old man hold this black guy's arm, like while he's walking it.
But that's lovely. That's how it should be.
Like, I was looking at it from a completely different. I was looking at it almost from like someone else's.
You're
view,
paranoid
like,
and looking and seeing how it comes across, which is sad that one human being cannot ask another human being.
It's
to
just
help them
weird
cross the road.
though. I'm just thinking like some people must think, whoa, this
But
is I've never seen
but
this
that's
kind.
but that's a lovely thing though.
Yeah.
The old white man trusted you. And said,
Even my friend, he was just like, that's mad. I can't believe it.
That's just reminded me of saying, when I used to work in, I've got to tell you this story because I've got to big up this guy back in the day. Big up Darren. Big up Darren, yeah? I used to work in, he used to work for the council in London, in South London, right? This guy, and it just shows you how you can totally judge a book, right? This guy, English geezer from Bermondsey, South East London, right? Millwall to the core, right? Ginger hair, proper geezer, he's in his 30s. All right, love, how's it going, babe? You all right? Yeah, going down the Millwall game. Proper, yeah? I used to work with him. And immediately you get that. Do you know what I mean? He's like, oh,
yeah.
shit, he's a proper geezer, Millwall fan, and proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and all that. When I tell you this man was the most accepting, he worked with all black women in that office. That office was about 100 to 200 black women. Do you know what I mean? They loved him and he loved them. Like, he was the most non-racist, non-judgmental, non-bigot guy. He just happened to be from Bermondsey and his team is fucking Millwall and he talks the way he talks and he's white. Do you know what I mean? But as a person in his heart,
expect a certain...
Oh, on the surface, he's totally the guy that you're thinking, for fuck's sake. He might be alright to me in the office, but as soon as he's with his mates...
You know he's chatting.
No, mate. He would not, because the way he wasn't just like, yeah, polite, alright mate, how's it going? Because a lot of those guys are like that, because they ain't got balls when they're on their own, so they're going to be nice.
So they don't want to...
But this man, when I tell you he was one of the most genuine... To this day I remember him. I worked with him 20 years ago. To this day I remember him. He was just one of the nicest guys. The most pure hide. He was a geezer, he was emotional, he used to lose his rag a couple of times at work, do you know what I mean? Because he's passionate and he's emotional, do you know what I mean? But like, as a man in his heart, he's a total opposite of what you would think if you just read white guy, Bermondsey, Millwall fan, fucking geezer. And you saw a picture of him. He looks like it should be a mugshot, do you know what I mean? Just a total fucking opposite. Sorry, is all those things, he does look like that, is a geezer, is a Millwall fan, is white, but that's very superficial. Do you know what I mean? And there's loads of white guys like that. Who are proper geezers and they're alright, but they don't take no bullshit. Like, no, mate, you're British. Because as many people as we have, when we put out these videos going, you're not British, you can't call you. And I've heard a new phrase now called paper citizen. I've never heard that before.
I haven't heard
I'm hearing that a lot, that you're a paper citizen, as in you're British on paper, but you're not British. Do you know what I mean? Like you're a paper citizen.
Okay.
I'm hearing a lot of that. I never knew I wasn't allowed to call myself British. I've been here for like nearly 50 years.
But there's a lot of white people that are born in England that they're actually not, like their family is not from...
They're not Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't tell by looking at them.
Yeah, so then they don't get that.
Which means
they don't get the same...
Which means it's about race.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the only thing different between me and them is my skin colour.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's plenty of guys that were commenting on that going, no, you're British, what are you talking about? If you're from here, you're British. And these are white people going, what are you fucking talking about? Of course you're British. We've got a problem with illegal people coming into this country and draining us resources. And the crazy thing is, I agree with them.
Yeah.
I don't want people coming into this country to leech off it. When the NHS gets strained, I get strained as well. It's not only it's not suddenly immigrants have got a kryptonite.
And we're paying taxes too.
I'm paying taxes. We pay taxes, we work, we contribute to this society. So when they're saying the NHS is drained, I'm not like, well, fuck the NHS, let it be drained. We don't want the NHS to be drained when we need an operation. We want jobs. So we have the same views. But what we're saying is, when we have certain things that we want to say, we face certain double standards with race. Similarly, when white people want to say something, they face double standards. But we were just highlighting our experience of what happens to us. But it became a thing of, no, it's not, it's the other way round, we can't say anything and we're white and we're not allowed to. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying what I said was white people can say certain things and have a go at their country and say my country is going to the dogs. But if I say my country, suddenly it's an issue. That's the point I was making. But then white people have double standards that are negatively against them that we don't have. We can fly a flag and no one thinks anything of it. You can't fly a flag. Do you know what I mean? Like there's certain things we can say something and we don't get called racist. But if a white person says something remotely criticizing someone of another colour, they're racist. So I get it.
I would still rather be on that side than this side. I would rather have to be careful with what I say than be careful with how I act.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't even act or say anything and I'm still being criticised.
But I think
so for me, I rather take it their way.
I think white people have that as well, though. Like I said, I still have that thing. If I go past a pub but it's got Union Jacks outside of St George's flags, it's a
racist kind of thought.
That's my PTSD because I grew up in the national headquarters of the BNP.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. That's not their problem. That's my problem. Now, if I go in there and get called a monkey, now it's their problem.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But me just thinking that is my problem. I need to get over that. But I like to think that I am not racist at all, but I still have PTSD, and I'm still a human, and I still have experiences that have shaped me as a human being and as a man. And growing up where the National Front and the BNP was rife, I still and when people got stabbed and Stephen Lawrence got stabbed 3 miles from where I live. Do you know what I mean? And he was around about the same age as me. That made me scared. And when I used to see the St. George's flag getting waved around by members of the National Front, by members of Combat 18, by members of BNP back in the day, it was scary because that's what I got shown. That was the symbol of it. Just like in Germany, it would have been the Nazi flag. Do you know what I mean? But that was a symbol. But as I've matured, I've realised that that's ruined it for a lot of people who just want to fly their flag for their country. Yeah. And they shouldn't be labelled racist because they want to fly the flag.
Man. They should still do it.
Yeah, but like I say, the racism comes not when you're flying the flag. The racism comes when you're flying the flag and screaming racist stuff. Yeah. That's the problem. Do you know what I mean? But white people, we love you, man. Yeah. We do. I love white people. My wife's white. Do you know what I mean?
I ain't got a problem with anyone, man.
Love white people. It's not a racist thing. We're just highlighting what it is that we experience as a people of colour in a white country. I'm sure we'll get a comment going, it's not a white country anymore, mate. We're the minority. Someone said it was a minority. But
they must live in like
some mad Rotherham, Burnley, somewhere, innit? Or Hackney or something or whatever. But Hackney's white now. Hackney's hipster.
Even when it's like 40% and they're still the majority, 40% like.
I don't think it's any more than about 20% anywhere. In any borough. There might be certain towns.
So crazy though.
There might be certain towns.
Because you go some places and you genuinely think you see a lot of people.
And it's 1 in 5.
It's insane.
Like the borough of Southwark, I think is about 20% when I worked.
That's insane.
But that's Peckham.
Do you know what I did it? I was doing it the other day. I was driving and I wanted to see how many black people I saw and how many or coloured people. Yeah. Anyone that was black, Asian, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Or how many white people I saw in the car. And I think out of 10 people, there was 4 people that were not.
And that's where?
That was in Wood Green.
That's London. Do that up in the north of England. Do that up here.
But I was even surprised at that. I thought it would be more.
Yeah. Do that.
I thought it would be more of a mix. Yeah. I think 4 out of 10 is still decent.
And London is where there's most people. But you do that up here, like where I live, I can count the amount of black people in this town because I see them in rotation.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, there's a few. You know what's moving up here? The Nigerians are moving in.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's cheap housing, isn't it? So they're moving in.
I haven't seen any.
And Asians, every now and then, if they're coming in from like the Burnleys and the Blackburns and the this and the that and the other, and in every town in England will have some Asians because everywhere's got a corner shop or an Indian restaurant or a New Zealand. You know what I mean? There'll be a couple here and there.
They're on it.
But it's not a community.
They're capitalising on.
Yeah, it's not a community though. It's not a community. Do you know what I mean? There's no communities here like that. Where I live, there's a lot of Romanians. A lot of big Romanian, like Romanian gypsies, not Romanian, because there's Romanians and there's Romani Romanians, isn't it? Like there's a big Romanian community, yeah. But yeah, other parts of the country don't have that. Anyway, white people, we love you. Thank you for listening. One love.
12:20 now.
Cool. All right. Now.